Impact Snap is a 4-time Golf Digest best training aid. And basically, you know, we've got 26 million golfers that play golf in the United States. Most of them aren't that good. You know, if you really boil it down, maybe 5,000 of them are really good. And then the rest of them are hot, cold, struggle, or higher handicaps. And basically, it comes down to impact. If you are in a good position, you're going to hit solid shots. If you're not in good position, your balls are going to go all over the place. So what Impact Snap is, it's a release trainer that forces your wrist to conform to what a tour player would look like. And the design of this was actually designed after Tiger Woods hitting his stinger in 2000.
Gotcha.
So when you watch old videos of Tiger, you could see how stable the lead wrist was going through impact and beyond impact. So impact is where I try and start all of my teaching, where if you're not making a good one, let's take a video of it, let's show you what you're doing, let's compare you to what good players are doing, and then let's start making that change.
Love that. So some of the things that we would probably see amongst normal amateur golfers, right, during the downswing phase, and I would communicate a lot of the same things. I think the setup position, backswing, downswings, all good and fine, but at the end of the day, you getting to an impact spot, right, is the king of the hill.
Exactly.
So some of the things we would see there, right, would be some form of this.
Absolutely. Right? Early throw, we call that. Breakdown. We see breakdown of the elbow. We see a lot of rotation of the arm and elbow because, you know, when I was a kid playing golf, we were taught to, hey, roll the arms over, and you know that's why we teach the game now.
Recipe
and why
for
I'm
disaster.
not playing.
That's right. That's right. And so, you know, we've done some videos before about kind of simplifying how the arms and hands work during the downswing, right? And there's sort of 3 main components to sort of how, let's say, the lead wrist would work.
Sure.
Do you want to maybe talk us through those first, then we'll talk about
so if you just made a fist with your hand, not even with a golf club, and I said, okay, Eric, you're going to hit my hand, well, your wrist would not bend like that to hit me effectively. Right. You would actually bend it downward and forward, which is going to stabilize your wrist the most to hit my hand. There you go. So what that motion does, so that we call that ulnar deviation is the uncock, and flexion would be the wrist motion forward. Magically, what that then leads to is the arm staying long. So now we're starting to alleviate the chicken wing, right? Because as soon as the wrist bends the other direction, these bones start to bend in or rotate or both.
That's right.
So basically, the elite, the Koepkas and the DJs and Jordan Spieths of the world really hold that angle from impact to about when their wrist gets about waist high in the through swing. Yeah. So we don't see tour level players flipping or twisting or whatnot. And if
0 of them.
Well, 0 of them. They all are at impact here, and then the elite ones carry that forward about another 12 inches.
Gotcha.
Okay, and then the guys that are good, that only last a few years, they're the ones that carry it forward for 2 inches and then have more roll, or because any change in that wrist action would then change the club face. And that's where guys really start hitting it sideways.
Yeah, absolutely.
And missing cuts.
And so the ulnar deviation would be the down portion, right?
Or uncocking.
Uncocking.
The
flexion part?
Flexion would be bowing. Or wrist bone moving forward.
And then we have the supination.
And barring what kind of grip you have. So if you have a stronger grip to begin with, which would be your left arm kind of preset over, you wouldn't really need much supination, and you wouldn't need much flexion. Right. It'll flatten out on its own. Kind of the principle, if you took your grip with a strong grip, and we'll face the camera. So when we have a strong grip, inherently the principle is we want this lever, the arm, to stay ahead of the shaft. What that'll do is then stabilize the club itself when it hits something. Shaft to belly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So as soon as the club passes the lead lever, you have no leverage to hit me. Gone. Okay? Yep. So the principle is the arm stays ahead. If we have a weaker grip that requires more flexion and more ulnar deviation, and then more supination. So it all depends on what kind of grip you're employing. So I'm not into changing that many grips unless it's just so unstable in someone's hand that they need that change.
We have to. Yeah. So for the people watching, right, the ulnar is going to happen. Correct. Right, regardless. Correct. The flexion part, depending.
Yeah,
right?
Depending on the grip style.
And the supination part sort of
depending on stronger grip. And basically, if you have a stronger grip, we wouldn't need as much of it.
Right,
Again,
gotcha.
the principle is that the arm stays ahead of the shaft.
Right. And just naturally for having the face square relative to the plane in space.
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right,
and so that's kind of measurement 2. So measurement 1, we basically see this lowercase letter y at impact. So if you made your impact, and we just connect your arms to the club, you'll see the formation of a lowercase y. That's always measurement number 1. Measurement 2 is, what does this look like when the hands get to about waist high?
Yep.
Are we basically, does the radius, the measurement from your shoulder through your wrist to the end of the club, if we face the camera, basically we'd be looking at a straight line.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And that point would be at about waist high over
right
here.
There. Gotcha.
We see so many people that are here and here, so their radius, if I just measure from the butt end of the club, it's right next to your body versus out here where it's well away from your body.
Love that.
And the longer the radius, the more stable the club face will be, and the more stable the club itself, the shaft will be.
It's a big point that a lot of people miss.
The shorter the radius, the more your club face is changing where we need it to not change the most.
Love that. So let's talk about how the impact snap, how can I put that in and use that to be able to train those?
So basically the way it's designed, I'll put it in your hands, I'll hold the club. Basically it's a pass-fail class. So when people get it for the first day, squeeze it, I just say swing forward and get the ball to hit the bottom of your forearm. Okay, so if the ball is missing your forearm, well, that's breaking down or whatever people want to call that.
Gotcha.
So day 1 is like, okay, go from setup where the ball will not touch to post-impact where it will touch.
Yep, perfect.
Okay, and then as we go along, we can say, okay, Eric, now let's incorporate a short backswing with that same movement.
Love
there you go.
And I'm trying to get it on the underneath part of my forearm.
The underneath part of the trail forearm.
Gotcha.
And so we do make it for lefties also.
There it's perfect.
So now as you swing it back, how many of your students show up with very tight wrists?
High percentage. High percentage.
So basically, if we never, there's a sliding weight in here, so we'll just point it down.
Yep.
You can feel how the wrist just relaxed to set. Okay. So now, once we hear that weight, I wouldn't want to hear the weight again here.
Early,
That's early release. I want to hear it as late as possible, and then check for the ball under the forearm.
Yeah, that's a cool, nice added feature in there, in addition to the wrist mechanics, right?
Yeah, so it has an audio component, a visual component, and a feel component, which are kind of requirements to make a change.
Love that. So if I'm doing it right, and even I'm just going from setup into sort of follow through just to learn it, I want to go from here, and I want to get that on the bottom, and what I'm feeling there, right, is the ulnar, I'm feeling the unhinge, I'm feeling a little bit of the flexion kind of through there, right? And for me, I don't feel a ton of supination.
No, didn't need it.
Right.
But how stable is that, and then how stable is that?
Solid.
As soon as this passes the wrist, you instantly feel how unstable it is.
100%. And so if I miss my...
If you miss your arm, you fail.
Gotcha.
It's a pass-fail. I know some people don't like using that word in, 2019.
Society,
The word fail.
Right.
But it's a pass-fail. You either do it or you don't. And what we've found is the people that do it the best play the best golf.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah. And like you said, the proof is in the pudding. If you look at good ball strikers, they have those similar positions, not just static, but in motion.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And they hit those spots. They have their little nuances of maybe how they do it, but they do this. And I think the little added feature, the face here in space.
Which that was conjured up after about running the company for a few years. We said, we got to do something so people can actually, visualize what is the club face doing while my wrists are doing that, which makes it a lot easier.
Love it. Yeah, so how about if we do a couple and then I'll hit a couple shots, maybe trying to get to the same spot?
And what I try and tell people is let's go at a little slower rate. So it's like take it back to waist high and swing it forward, finishing with the ball touching the forearm. And a lot of people are like, well, when do I follow through? And I'm like, that is follow through. Kind of the way I define it, follow through would be the moment that both arms straighten.
Got it.
Just follow through. Whatever happens after that, I don't care because the ball's already gone. You want to rotate this or recock it or, at that point, now if you want to bend the elbows like Jordan Spieth or Zach Johnson, that's cool. The ball's already gone.
Yeah, love it.
So it's like swing through and literally stop to right here. And as you know, all of our students, none of them are really good at hitting punch shots like low wedges under branches with spin.
And or swinging short and slow in the training part in the beginning, right?
That too. So I tell people, look, do 3 or 4 reps, and then we'll hit a couple wedges where your you will stop at follow through. That's both arms straight.
Got it.
And at that point, your radius is maxed out.
Yep.
It can't get any longer. It can only get shorter. And after that point, it might get shorter because we'll start to recock or whatnot. But for this, for practice purposes, I just like, okay, let's start with a few balls where we just pitch the ball and finish in that position.
It's really the basic foundation to solidness of contact and learning how to play well, right?
Well, I mean, the hands have to be over in order to make the divot past the ball.
Yeah, that's right.
If we're hitting wedges.
Yeah.
We'll get to drivers later on in another video.
So the first couple shots when you'd be starting your training, we might do like, 20, 30 yard shorties.
Waist tie to waist tie.
Gotcha.
Waist tie with a little turn, and then check your wrist positions when you're done.
And now what I'm feeling and what I love out of that is, like, I felt there that I was able to replicate the feel perfectly, right? From that to my club and my grip with this and the weighting of it and everything.
Absolutely.
Right? It feels as though from here that I'm able to replicate that quite seamlessly.
And our students who are not as accomplished of a golfer as you, they've never felt that. So a lot of times they look at me like, really? And then I'll take a video and then show them, geez, let's look at Dustin Johnson going through impact, or Brooks Koepka, or somebody, and they're like, oh wow, that is what I want to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Bryson DeChambeau.
We'd like to hit it like any of them,
So hit a couple waist tie to waist tie, and then we'll kind of grade you at the end. And it's one of those things you can actually grade yourself based on what you see there. Perfect, great impact. So you got the feedback of the ball, but now you got the feedback of, hey, I just did it.
Yeah, that was perfect.
I'm not twisted and bent and all over the place.
And what I can feel, and I feel if I did that more frequently, is I almost felt there as if the ball was on my forearm, kind of like I could kind of feel it, like I had actually just done a couple of those reps. And the ability to take that, I could throw that right in my golf bag, I could pull it out, I could do the reps kind of quickly on the range as a warm-up, hit some, maybe go back and forth, right? And replicate those feels and confirm that I'm actually doing the same pieces, right? And that feels, obviously, like I'm gonna get the feedback, the solid contact, right? But I think beyond that, like you said, within it being a video of, I almost don't even feel I need the video as much because I can replicate that feel so good.
And you don't need the video as much because when you're finished, I guess hit one direction.
Sure.
And just hold your finish when you're done. Why you wouldn't need the videos, because now you can look down and say, hey, there it is.
This is where it is,
It's all right there.
Gotcha.
So the only video when you want to really make sure, hey, at higher speeds, and like anything that we're trying to develop that skill set, it's like, okay, hey, let's go run a marathon today. Well, maybe 26 miles isn't good today, but let's start with 2 or 3 miles.
Yeah, or half a one,
and then build
maybe.
up. Right. So it's like, okay, let's get good. Every golfer could be a 7 handicap or less from 50 yards in it, if they just understood this.
That's it.
And even if you can't reach the hole in par 4 and 2 shots, well, guess what? Get it up and down from 50 yards, or get it close enough where you have a par putt.
You can do that, and it's the foundation, right? It's like it's people come in, and obviously we're doing different videos. There's a million different things in a golf swing that you can get lost within and focus on.
But that's the foundation.
It's the king of the hill.
Guys on tour, they set up differently, they hold it differently, but they all impact it pretty darn similarly.
That's right. So learn this first, and then we gradually maybe add some hinge, add some speed, length.
And it's built to train at a higher speed once you accomplish the first few tasks.
Love it. Cool. Yeah, I think that's awesome. Not a lot of aids that I'm using that I can replicate that quickly into a golf ball. That also are one-to-one. Like if I do it right, I hit a ball better.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Which I think is unique.
It gives people a feel, which most people have never felt what this gets people to feel. But that's why you use it, and we have top teachers all over the world that are using it.
Yeah, I love it, man. We're going to hit some more, but thank you for bringing it up. Well, obviously, we'll train a little bit. I appreciate that, and I hope that everyone grabs one of these. Really, truly is something that you can take right out of your golf bag, go to the range, do some reps, hit some balls, get instant feedback, and get the one thing that you need, which is solidness of contact. So for those of you that want to check this out and grab this, if you use the coupon code ECGolf, that'll get you 10% off, and it'll get you a first step on your way to better golf.